Hi, President Xi. Today I'm sitting over here at around 1:45 a.m. in the morning on the 7th of Feb to talk directly to you. This is my personal message to you from Pakistan as a political activist and a humanitarian activist and leader. It is highly concerning how you have treated Pakistan's Prime Minister and decided to meet him on the third day of his arrival and made him one of the people that you were going to meet today on Sunday. When you were meeting a dozen other global leaders, you decided to insert Imran Khan in that list of leaders. This is all while Pakistan has been hemorrhaging and bleeding in Balochistan to try to safeguard CPEC, which is of utmost pivotal strategic importance for China at this point, especially while things are warming up between you and Biden in South China Sea. I was really disappointed and I was shocked, even though I have a lot of, I'm kind of in the opposition right now, and I have been creating a case for removal of Imran Khan. But when our prime minister goes to China out of a goodwill gesture, he's sent by the people of Pakistan to China to represent the people of Pakistan. And it doesn't matter if it's Imran Khan, it doesn't matter if it's Nawaz Sharif, it doesn't matter if it's Zardari, it doesn't matter if it is anybody. That person is the Prime Minister of Pakistan. That person is representing 222 million people of Pakistan. And if that person is humiliated by you, then the whole nation is humiliated because that person is representing them. And that person is in Beijing right now to represent the interests of those people. We believe in friendship with China. We believe in friendship with the people of China. We have had this friendship through all the times, whether they were good times or bad times. We have stood together against imperialism, against colonialism, and we have fought together battles, and we have won, and we have come out victorious. So, what changed? What happened? Why would you prioritize to meet Putin on the first day and push back the Prime Minister of Pakistan to the third day, make him as one of the list of the other leaders that you were going to meet on Sunday anyway? Russia needs you right now for Ukraine, but China needs Pakistan. China has never needed Pakistan more. We are right now hemorrhaging and bleeding our soldiers in Balochistan over CPEC. We are fighting against the enemies of China who are trying to sabotage the investment of China in Pakistan and the access of China to the warm sea of Gawada Port. We are losing our soldiers. We are sacrificing our people. We are bleeding. We are hemorrhaging. We are giving so much to China in spite of our limited resources. We are trying our best to help you. When it comes to your relationship with US, we have tried our best to create a conducive environment between you and US so that the world can be saved from World War III and you guys do not have a war. We have been doing that regardless of what you do to us. We have done it without any material interest, in the greater interest of the global peace, in the greater interest of what will help the people of China. And we have been doing it for years. Unlike those whom you have started to believe, who are nowadays using their proxies to incite terrorism within Balochistan over CPEC. I'm referring to Iran. Iran, unfortunately, has played a nefarious role in sabotaging the relationship between China and Pakistan by offering an alternative to Gwadar port. And it would have been okay, competition is always welcome. But what is this competition offering to China? Chabahar port is inhabited by the enemies of China and Pakistan together. We are not talking about Iran. Iran is neither the enemy of China nor of Pakistan. We are talking about RSS. We are talking about India. We are talking about the people who have stood against the people of China and Pakistan for years and years and offered their country to be held hostage by the imperialists and the nefarious deep state of the world so that World War III can break out in the South China Sea. I'm referring to the Indo-Pacific program of the deep state of US and the European Union. We are in this together. RSS is not just the enemy of Pakistan. RSS is more of an enemy of China than of Pakistan. We have been fighting against RSS for years now. 70 years, and we have fought so many wars against RSS. I have lost count. Not a day goes by that we do not fight against these terrorists. But what is it going to take for China to put up a fight against RSS? I understand that you want to create a good, conducive environment with Iran as an alternative and your contingency plan and backup plan in case Gwadar fails or CPEC fails. I totally understand you have to serve your strategic interests, but you need to understand what you're getting your feet inside. Iran has made major blunders. The first blunder it made was when it disclosed to US about Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan. Iran would have become a nuclear power long time ago had it not disclosed to US about Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan. That was the first biggest blunder that this regime made. They have traitors within the ruling regime of Iran that have been working against the strategic interests of Iranians for a long time. This is why Soleimani was hit. Who gave Israel the intel to strike Soleimani? India did. India has infiltrated the Iranian regime with its tentacles deeply embedded within the ruling regime of Iran and has been able to bring about this rival Chabahar port as a competitor to the Gwadar port to create a military base right in the backyard of Pakistan. And it gives intel to Israel. It gave intel to Israel from Tehran that led to the martyrdom and demise of the biggest nuclear scientist of Iran. Iranian regime has committed so many blunders, I've lost count, literally. And we as Pakistanis have tried to tap into the brotherly relations we've had with them for years to try to make them understand that our relationship is beyond everything else. And RSS is a common enemy, not just for Pakistan and China, but as much for the people of Iran as well. Because the RSS terrorists, they talk about raping Muslim women, Muslim girls. And Muslim girls are very much inside every other house of Iran as they are within the homes of Pakistan too. So RSS is not just the enemy of China. RSS is not just the enemy of Pakistan. RSS is also the enemy of Iran. So if you're listening to Iran and saying that, oh, we have this alternative Chabahar port, then let me assure you one thing, that when the time comes, India is not going to allow even one ship of yours to move on that port because India has been establishing its military base out of that port to compete against Pakistan's Gwadar. And eventually with the plan to attack Pakistan from there. So rest assured, when the time comes, all that investment that you have made into the Chabahar port. I didn't want to say all these things so candidly, but I am so disappointed with how you behaved with our Prime Minister and with our government that went there out of goodwill to talk to the people of China and to bring our gift and our wishes on the Olympics. I'm shocked how you treated Pakistan. And if you're doing it out of Iran, and I know Iran has links with Putin, I know Putin has been trying to create peace between India and Pakistan, and also Putin has been trying to have you nurture a, a good relationship with India because Putin has his own strategic military interests with India. It has been a strategic military partner of India for years, and it also sells a lot of weapons to India. And if India stops buying those weapons from Russia, then Russia will have a pretty big dent in its paycheck bank balance. So it's simple as that. But having said that, what China shares with Pakistan and what Pakistan shares with China is unmatched. It's a relationship, it's a friendship that has lasted for as long as the existence of Pakistan. And it is unmatched, it's unparalleled, and it is not because you are all of a sudden overnight rich, and it is not because China is becoming a superpower economy. We were your friends even when you were poor. Never forget that. So, tomorrow, God forbid, I hope not, because we are always wishing you good wishes. God forbid, if bad time comes on the people of China, we will still be your friends. But I'm not so sure about Iran. I'm not so sure about Russia. I'm not so sure about India. Of course, India is going to feast the day you are poor. But having said that, we Pakistanis will be with you if God forbid you become poor today. Because we were with you when you were poor, and we are with you when you're rich. And in fact, we are losing lives of our soldiers in Balochistan to safeguard the interests of the people of China. Who does that? Has Putin sacrificed any Russian soldiers to safeguard the interests of China? Answer my question. I know you have an issue with Imran Khan. I have an issue with Imran Khan too. He has issues. He's got a big baggage. I'm fighting against him on the political front as a politician of Pakistan. But when he goes to your country as the prime minister of my country, he should not be pushed back to the third day to be met by you amongst the list of a lot of other leaders. That's not what the people of Pakistan expect from you, because we are literally hemorrhaging and losing our lives in Balochistan. And tomorrow, when Chabahar port does not allow you to move another ship of China because of Indian military base over there, Gwadar port will still be available. Port Qasim will still be available for you to move your ships around. I hope this makes sense to you. Coming to the next point, President Xi, you have to stop pushing IMF into our faces and the United Nations into our faces. We are done with IMF. We are totally done with it. You have pushed us to engage into these lethal self-destructive programs of IMF that have led to a 13% inflation rate in Pakistan today. Today, our economy is hemorrhaging. This is a vicious cycle of bad economy leading to a bad national security, which itself feeds into a bad economy. And we are on the verge of losing our sovereignty if you don't get your act straightened out and help us in these dire circumstances. IMF needs to be removed from the equation of stability of Pakistan, from the equation of economy of Pakistan. It has to be removed. It has to be taken care of. We are not in a position to do that. We do not want to beg your rival countries within US, within the European countries, within the AUKUS chain, within the Quad chain. We don't want to beg them because we know we have a friend like you. For you, it is a piece of cake to remove IMF from our back and to bring our inflation rate to less than 6% within 10 days. You can do it, President Xi. You can remove IMF from our backs. You have the power right now that you can use to get this monkey off our back that is literally terrorizing 222 million people. And we are on the verge of losing our sovereignty. We already had to mortgage our State Bank of Pakistan under so much pressure of this economic terrorist. So you have to stop pushing IMF into our face. You should believe that Pakistan's stability is linked closely to the stability of China because we are the gateway. We are technically your neck. Pakistan is the neck of China through which you can save yourself when the time comes. We are with you, whether you're poor, whether you're rich. We have been with you. We have been friends of all weathers, and we will stay like that. But you have to make up your mind that are you going to convert China into the dirty capitalism of the West that is technically responsible for the economic recession that they're facing today? Or you're going to show the world how healthy capitalism can breed stronger relationships and can improve global economic trade. You can show the world what healthy capitalism is. You can show these imperialists and these deep state nefarious troublemakers how business should be done. How you can actually show the world that there is a concept like healthy capitalism coming out of a communist country. I have been telling the American people that you are suffering from the world's worst form of communism, not democracy, while China has adopted healthy capitalism out of communism and achieved prosperity beyond anyone's understanding. You can show the world what healthy capitalism is. And the best way to do it is by rescuing your best friend from IMF. Today, if Pakistan is going to have to listen to US or the European Union, AUKUS, Quad, whatever, it will be because of these bullies like IMF who are coercing, extorting terrible conditions out of our country. I really want you to consider that you have to stop pushing IMF into our faces and you have to rescue Pakistan from the tentacles of IMF today. Number one. Number two, Kashmir, RSS, United Nations. 3 points. Kashmir, RSS, United Nations. RSS has been trying to have a global domination, especially within the region of Asia. They want to be superior to you, to us, to even the Iranians, and by the time they know, it will be too late. I think it's already too late. They lost their biggest nuclear scientist, they lost their biggest general, and I don't know what's next on the list of Israel and Indian nexus. But coming back to the point, they wanted full domination in Afghanistan. We defeated that. They're trying to infiltrate Iran. They've already done that. So whatever you do in Iran, I'm not saying don't help Iranians, help them. But don't get exploited to the point that you start alienating your best friend like Pakistan. We want you to have friendship with Iran. We want to be friends with Iran too. We've been telling them, hey, stop attacking us. Stop attacking us with your proxy drones and with your proxy terrorists and BLA and whatnot, all these kinds of terrorist organizations. We've been telling them, they're not listening. I have no idea what they're trying to do over here and achieve over here. I'm not saying you should not help Iranians. You should help them, but you should not destroy your relationship, sever your relationship with Pakistan because of what Iran is telling you and what Iran's buddy Putin is telling you. I respect Putin. He's a great person. He's an awesome leader, one of the best leaders for Russia that Russia has ever seen. But coming back to what's going on between you and Pakistan, we have to have a straight face-to-face talk. RSS, Kashmir, and United Nations. You have to stop pushing us to these United Nations resolutions because they are not working. We are beyond that point. 5th August 2019 was the end of United Nations resolutions. I offered Modi on the 4th of January to reinstate Article 370 for us to be able to rediscuss and renegotiate about the United Nations resolutions, the plebiscite, and whatever points they have tabulated, but nothing happened. They did not budge. They are not willing to go back. They are only willing to move forwards. And what does moving forwards mean for these RSS terrorists? It means global domination. It means a complete Hindu land in China, a complete Hindu land in Afghanistan, in Iran, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka, in Tibet, in Nepal. This is what they want. Can you negotiate with them? Can you negotiate with ISIS? Can you negotiate with Al Qaeda? Can you negotiate with RSS? Be my guest. If you can negotiate with RSS and convince them today that they do not want to create their Hindu land and their Khan Bharat Hindutva in China, in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Iran, in Sri Lanka, I'll be more than happy to accept your point of view and go to United Nations, but it's not happening. It hasn't happened for the last 75 years. They are not going to budge. They're fanatics. They're terrorists. They're fascists. You cannot convince them. You cannot dodge them. You cannot work around them because of war. RSS is not just our enemy. RSS is your enemy more than Pakistan's enemy because right now the Indo-Pacific is everywhere. And what are you doing about it? Telling us to go to United Nations over Kashmir when RSS is not even ready to listen about United Nations? How do you expect the Pakistan army or the ruling regime to move its army into Srinagar if it does not have your backup? 3 days down the road, we go into Srinagar and you will be telling us to listen to whatever the United Nations says. And we all know what United Nations does. It is headquartered in New York. It has failed to listen to anything that you have told them over all the years, in spite of all the donations you have given them and all the support you have given them, because they have been biased from day one. They were structured by the G7s to have a domination over the struggling economies. And you were one of those struggling economies in those years of post-World War II. They are not sincere with China. They are not sincere with Pakistan, and they are not sincere with Kashmir. Even if we take this case to the United Nations, they are not sincere. They are not going to make the right decision. They have not been able to do so for the last 75 years. And right now, RSS is as much against China as it is against Pakistan. And it is as much your war as against RSS, or you're not going to do that because Putin has told you to, because Putin wants to sell more weapons to India. Putin has to make up his mind too. He is the macho man. He's always like, I'm the big guy and I am the hero who's fighting against the super villains of the world. I'm the superhero. I'm the Spider-Man, the Batman of Russia. Yeah, we got that. You are the Spider-Man and the Batman of Russia. I got that. But why aren't you uniting with Pakistan, with China in all its entirety instead of playing on both sides of the court? You have to stop doing that, Putin. You cannot play on both sides of the court anymore. People are united on the other side. They are so united, it's mind-boggling. Nothing can disunite them. No matter how much their relationships are severed, they do not disunite. And this is why they've been so successful against all of us. Still, we have this fiat currency based economy and we have these central bank mediated control of various nations of the world. You have to make up your mind, Putin. And President Xi, you have to make up your mind as well. Either we unite and then we vow not to disunite. Either we identify our enemies like RSS, like India, or we're running amok in a state of chaos, giving our rival countries an opportunity to feed upon our resources and to plunder our resources and to destroy our economies and to humiliate us by threatening us with sanctions and boycott. President Xi, what is your decision? Putin, what is your decision? RSS is not just the enemy of Pakistan. RSS is the enemy of China. And if you look at RSS's relationship with the rivals of Russia, I am surprised how Putin can even talk about peace with India right now, or even peace with RSS, especially while the Ukrainian situation is boiling up. I am right now carrying the burden of a global campaign where I can tap into the goodwill of the American people and the European people within the rival countries of China and Russia to create a global awareness campaign that can stop all kinds of agendas of the deep state, whether they're related to the military-industrial complex, whether they're related to invading smaller countries to plunder their resources, whether it is related to unleashing economic terrorists like IMF and World Bank on them. But I cannot do it all by myself. I need you, President Xi. I need you, President Putin. And I know you have issues with Imran Khan too, so do I. And I'm actually fighting to get him off the PM house. But if he's in Beijing, against all odds, sent by the people of Pakistan on the tab of their tax money, then you should better take him seriously and give him the respect that you would give to the people of Pakistan. Because he's still the Prime Minister of Pakistan as of today, as of this moment. He's still representing the 222 million people of Pakistan. Whoever we send to all of you, we actually boycotted the Democracy Summit of Biden. And when everybody was trying to boycott the Olympics, we were trying to support you. But it was not so that on the third day, you figure out a time to meet him amongst the list of all the other leaders that you're trying to meet. You have to make up your mind, President Xi. We have been fighting against RSS. Even when you were poor, we were fighting against RSS and we were defeating them and beating them up and kicking their butts. And we will continue to fight them whether you're by our side or not by our side. But it will be your loss, bigger than the loss of Pakistan, when India is not going to allow your ships to budge at Chabahar port, and then you will look at Gwadar port and the Qasim port to save your butt. That's all I have to say. No offenses. Please don't take anything to your heart. I'm a very straightforward person. We have a lot of issues going on. We have to be united. We cannot have doubts about each other. If we are not united, we're going to lose every battle, every conflict, whether it's diplomatic or whether it's a real military embargo. We have to decide whose side we are on. President Xi, President Putin, you must decide whose side you're on. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye. Have a good night.